Flying down. What up, JP? Good to see you. All right. So there we go. We're going to listen to a debate.
Buddy, tonight we're debating whether or not Trump is a fascist, and we're starting right now with Adam's opening statement. Thanks for being with us. Adam, the floor is all yours.
Yesterday, a man named
What's up,
Alex
JP? Can you hear
Preddy
me?
was executed in broad daylight. Federal agents dragged him off of a woman they had shoved to the ground while he tried to shield her from pepper spray. Alex was then pinned down by several officers as one began pistol whipping him and another removed his legally owned gun from its holster. He was then shot multiple times in the back and 5 more times as his body laid limp on the pavement. As this took place, one of the agents began clapping in celebration. When state authorities got a warrant to investigate, signed by a judge, federal officials still blocked them from the crime scene. Senior officials in the Trump administration have already labeled Alex an assassin and a terrorist who is, quote, brandishing a weapon. Meanwhile, the president has told us that only criminals carry guns on our streets, and the attorney general is offering to withdraw ICE from the state if it meets a set of demands, such as turning over its voter rolls. In the midst of this and countless other violations of American norms, civil rights, and basic decency, the word fascism has taken center stage. It's the word you'll hear thousands decry in unison as they march on the streets, and it's the word I'll be using today to describe the ascent of Donald Trump in American politics. The obvious question then becomes, what does it even mean? And the truth is, scholars have argued that question for decades, but are still farther than ever from consensus. For the purposes of this debate and my use of the label more broadly, I'll be drawing from 2 of the foremost scholars on the subject, Jason Stanley and Robert Paxton. Together, their frameworks effectively lay out both the characteristics of fascism and the mechanics of its growth. In his aptly titled book, How Fascism Works, Jason Stanley lays out his 10 pillars of fascism.
So you're kind of in shock that you just watched the shooting video the first time. Like the unedited, clear, like what happened. Yeah, I don't think it was a good thing at all. Like really. I think it was very, very bad.
Characteristics which, when they emerge together, can be used to identify fascist movements. These include the mythic past, which is harkened back to as a nation's true identity, propaganda used to mask unpopular methods and goals with ideals that are widely accepted, unreality calling into question and manufacturing what is true. Victimhood assigned to traditionally dominant groups who see equality as a threat to their position, and law and order used as a framing to divide the nation into those who are lawful by nature and those who are inherently lawless. Of course, all of these pillars can exist in isolation. Many even appear together, often overlapping with other forms of authoritarianism. But fascism should enter the conversation when they emerge concurrently and consistently as a pattern over time. That pattern is precisely what is laid out in the work of fascism's most prominent scholar, Robert Paxton, whose functional analysis of the term redefined the entire field, and in fact, directly refutes the Italian definition of the term I've heard Andrew use before. In his essay titled The 5 Stages of Fascism, he says, the words of fascist intellectuals, even if we accept for the moment that they constitute fundamental philosophical texts, correspond only distantly with what fascist movements do after they have power. Early fascist programs are poor guides to later fascist policy. He goes on to argue that fascism isn't actually an ideology, rather it's a dynamic political process, based more in mobilizing passions than a formal doctrine. Specifically, he lays out the 5 stages of its growth, like a cancer metastasizing within the body politic. Stage 1 is simply the emergence of proto-fascist sentiments, a discrediting of liberal and democratic values in favor of nationalism. Of course, this has been ubiquitous in modern democracies for decades now. But in stage 2, this sentiment takes root in national politics, often by becoming a player in the scene through a political party. Its success here is dependent on the presence of weakness or deadlock, either a humiliated state seen as a nation in decline, or a polarized one, where the right refuses to accept the legitimacy of a growing left. Stage 3 is the acquisition of power, a milestone that many fascist movements are never able to reach. Interestingly, Paxton points out that this often happens through legitimate means, as fascists find common cause with conservatives, while downplaying the excesses conservatives would find threatening. The fourth stage is the exercise of power, though this is actually not unilateral. Instead, fascist leaders are often forced, at least initially, to govern in association with the conservative elites they've joined, creating a four-way power struggle between the leader, his party, regular state functionaries like agency heads or judges, and traditional elites like churches, the army, and big businesses. This all culminates with stage 5, where fascism can go in one of two directions: radicalization or entropy. Either the leader or his party double down on the extreme goals they had temporarily hidden, or the traditional elites win out.
Yeah, this is my free-to-play account. I'm Diamond Tier 4. I'm like 2 ticks into Diamond Tier 4. But man, it's I'm having fun making these new decks. This is like a kind of like an original deck. I am enjoying it quite a bit, actually. I know he's trying to do some reanimation stuff here. So hopefully I can. I don't think of how I want to do this. Get rid of that.
Out, and the state settles into a more default authoritarianism. While complex, these frameworks make a few things clear. Fascism is a style of politics.
This is a different. Yeah, this is a whole different account and everything. This is my free-to-play account. Need another swamp. Ruby. Oh, no swamp. Okay. This will actually help me quite a bit. I'm gonna put down my authority of the console and opponent's at 11.
Orientation towards the use of power, relying on messaging just as much as its actual governance. And importantly,
like this card right here.
It doesn't always win.
Besieged by time.
That's obviously a lot to remember, so for this debate, I've tried to distill it into something more concise. Fascism is a reaction.
Lone Bull, how are you doing with the grind? What's your highest rank so far?
Ultra-nationalist, authoritarian movement characterized by appeal to a mythical past, malicious delegitimization of institutions, and pursuit/use of power to suppress and vilify outgroups. It arises as a response to perceived upheaval of sociocultural norms, national embarrassment, and/or elitism in society. This is a diagnostic definition of what we can call the fascist minimum, the true core of a concept that typically appears in many different forms. But to be even more clear, I'll be making 3 affirmative claims today. 1, that Trump is an authoritarian whose political project seeks to centralize and consolidate power by engaging with our laws in bad faith. 2, that he uses his position of power to vilify, intimidate, and oppress his opposition or those he designates as members of an outgroup. And 3, that he builds, fuels, and justifies this movement with allusions to a once glorious, now desecrated past, which can only be reattained through ultranationalism. I'm eager for Andrew to challenge these 3 claims and invite him to do so. But I am also curious about what his position is. Does he believe Trump is not a fascist, or is he just unsure? Because if it's the latter, I'm happy to convince him of my position. But if it's the former, I also have a lot of questions for him. Namely, that even if his definition is more narrow than mine, how could he not at least classify Trump as an authoritarian with fascistic tendencies? The man who says, quote, "I alone can fix it," who called for the termination of the U.S. Constitution and said, quote, "He who saves his country violates no law." The man who calls his opposition vermin and in speeches to our military calls them the enemy from within, while saying that undocumented immigrants poison the blood of our country. Of course, he cloaks this darkness in the veil of ultranationalism, making America great again, saying the forgotten man and woman will be forgotten no longer, and that, quote, the bedrock of our politics will be a total allegiance to the United States of America, and through our loyalty to our country, we will rediscover our loyalty to each other. Maybe Andrew will tell us not to believe our lying ears and eyes, or that Trump just says a lot of shit. Maybe he'll reference Article 2 to excuse virtually anything done with presidential powers, or downplay all the cases of lies, rights violations, and non-compliance as good faith mistakes or novel legal theories. But after watching a man get executed and hearing the federal government lie to our face about it, I'm frankly sick of hearing excuses and false equivalencies. I'm sick of being told to call stage 3 cancer a benign tumor just because the illness isn't terminal yet. So I hope this debate can serve as a detailed exploration of Trump's politics and an interrogation of both my 3 central claims and Andrew's claims to the contrary. I want to close with a quote from someone who seems to agree with my position here, Donald Trump, who said just months ago, I did get elected for crime, but I didn't get elected for what we're doing. This is many, many steps above. I want to thank Stephen Miller. I'd love to have him come up and explain his true feelings, maybe not his truest feelings. That might be going a little bit too far.
Thank you very much for that opening, Adam. We're going to kick it over to Andrew for his opening as well. But first, quick housekeeping. Folks, if you didn't know, DebateCon 7 in Houston, Texas. It's less than a week away. It's Saturday, January 31st. Grab your tickets now. They're linked in the description box. It's going to be huge. We're expecting it to sell out. With that, we're going to kick it over to Andrew for his opening as well. Andrew, thanks for being with us. The floor is all yours.
Damn it, Con. You were the one. I thought you were going to. I thought it was going to be a. I was
This is
hoping
actually really
it was gonna
funny.
be a whole different thing, but it's just the normal TDS shit. So it's fine. This is exactly what the debate I prepared for, unfortunately. But I had hope. I had hope, Con. As we engage in this debate on if Trump is or is not a fascist, there are a few things I want to point out in the outset of the debate, a few tactics which are going to be going on. If I were my debate opponent, I would fallaciously argue that Trump isn't, quote, a full-blown fascist, but he's just mostly a fascist. And I'm very certain this is where he's going to go with this. So I wanted to, in the outset, prepare a demonstration for why this sort of arguing makes no sense and should ultimately be rejected. By the way, it's exactly what he did. I will do this by talking about
This
chimpanzees
is funny. Pay attention
and
to
bananas.
this.
You see, a chimpanzee...
I've only seen in the time of chimpanzees. I wasn't mutated in my brain. So anyway, yeah, this is pretty funny. I saw a little bit past this.
by some accounts, shares 98% of the same DNA as a human being. Does that make a chimp 98% human? Do they seem 98% human to you, or do they seem like something else entirely? Here I want to demonstrate this principle. This is a banana. It shares 60% of genes with human beings. Does it seem like it's 60% a human being, though? No, it doesn't. If I peel it, like I just did, and I eat it, am I engaging in 60% cannibalism? No, I'm not. Of course not. It's ridiculous on its face. But it's likely my opponent's going to try to tell you that Trump shares X amount of traits with fascists, exactly what he did. And so he's mostly a fascist. He's mostly a fascist, which is mind-boggling to me, but the standard fare argument of the idiot left. This needs to be rejected immediately for the obvious reason, which is ideologies have overlap but differ greatly in what they actually are and why they are.
I'm
or
about
are
to
not
get
the
cooked
thing.
here, chat.
My opponent defines fascism, and I quote, "Fascism is a reactionary, ultranationalist, authoritarian movement characterized by appeal to a mythical past, malicious delegitimizing of institutions, in pursuit of power to suppress outgroups and vilify outgroups. It arises as a response to perceived upheaval of sociocultural norms, national embarrassment, or elitism in society." He bases this definition largely, he says, on fascist scholars like Robert Paxton, Jason Stanley. I think that they would reject this definition, honestly, because they don't consider Trump to be a fascist. They don't consider him to be a fascist, which is hilarious. Okay? Even Paxton, post J6, right, when he said that he's fine with the label now, still doesn't consider Trump to actually be a fascist. Under his criteria of fascism, which I'll grant for the sake of argument, Sanders would be a fascist. Bernie Sanders, the guy this guy likes. If we took out ultra-nationalists, he would fit every criteria Con listed. Sanders has an authoritarian movement. He wants to nationalize many industries away from the private sector. He would need state power to do so in a way which would obviously be oppressive to private interested parties and people. He appeals to and speaks positively of the communist nation, appeals to their past policies and glories.
Oh, yeah, I
He
want it.
legitimizes institutions maliciously like healthcare, police forces.
Dang, chat. I don't know how I pulled that off. That was kind of impressive.
ICE, all sorts of things. He wants to use state power to vilify the outgroup, millionaires and billionaires, and he wants power to do so. Now, is Sanders a fascist? Of course not. This is an example of how nebulous this broad definition can be used because it's just silly. Would this make him 60% fascist? No, it's ridiculous because the core pillar isn't there anymore. It's not there anymore for Sanders than it is for Trump. And that's this one pillar, ultranationalism.
You know, this is it's not going to age well if Trump decides that he is actually going to do some fascistic stuff. It's going to be one of those, well, that didn't age too well kind of scenarios, you know?
While I have a very different definition from Mr. Khan, I had to use a Star Trek reference of Khan, right? On what fascism actually is and the pillars which hold it up, I would like to point out by his metric, Trump isn't a fascist and can't be because he isn't an ultranationalist. And without that, the whole pillar and house of cards falls down. Nationalism is a belief your country should come first before other nations. Ultranationalism is the belief your nation comes before everything else. God, family, morals, job, interest. The state becomes the core of the ideology, and it is an ideology, not just a core of traits. Trump is barely even a nationalist, let alone an ultranationalist. MAGA, his base of supporters, isn't asked to require.
You having fun over there? Oh, no. That's not good.
Required to put Trump before God or family or other value systems they may hold. Not to mention, he has some pretty anti-nationalist policies like gold cards to buy citizenship for foreign nationals, or 600,000 imported Chinese students, or hundreds of thousands of Indians brought in for cheap labor, or any number of different anti-nationalist policies that I can point at. Tons of policies which Trump puts forward, and I could argue they're barely nationalistic at all, but certainly isn't an ultra-nationalist, and without that pillar, he can't be a fascist. Now, I'm making a positive case here, to be fair, and so is my opponent. I'm saying Trump is not a fascist. He's saying he is. So I want to be charitable there. This is not I get to stay on the fence and just pepper him about his definition. He gets to interrogate me as well. That's fair, right? Yep. I'm happy, on demand, to provide my definition for fascism, its core philosophy of the third position, if you would like. I spent a lot of time in my debate career arguing against the tenets of the third position, i.e. fascism. What it is, its philosophy, its originators like Giovanni Gentili, Mussolini, others, the ideas of corporatism and the fasci, what that represents and why it represents that. What's happening here in actuality is this. The left and progressives like my opponent, in general, they want to use morally infused language to demonize their opposition by comparing them to Nazis and fascists, which they think are synonyms. They want all of the horrors of fascism to be laid at the feet of their political opposition, even if the political opposition doesn't share the ideology. And if they don't share the ideology...
Well, I mean, you'd understand all the Chinese students if you realize that we sold out to China, JP, a long, long time ago. It explains the indoctrination in the last 25, 30 years in our schools, the degradation of our education system, the dumbing down of the average Occidental. Yeah, it explains a lot, actually.
They just come up with new ways to define the ideology so they can make them share it. It's not that Trump is a fascist, you see. It's that the Holocaust happened and Mustache Man has the same ideology as Trump, so he's like them. And his allies in Italy, the fascists, did the same thing too. This is what gives them the perceived moral high ground in which to resist the evil fascists. And that's all this has ever been. Purely performative, all lies, which is going to totally fall apart when I put this to the question. Watch. And with that, I'm happy to get into this. Now, I have each definition for semantic certainty that you could ever want. If you want ultranationalism, you want definitions for anything in my position, I've got them on hand. We're ready to go. I hope you got the same thing so that we can skip the semantics and get right to the meat of it, right? Yeah, I'm with that. I'm ready to get right into this.
You got it. With that, we'll jump into the open dialogue. First, folks, if you didn't know, if you can't make it to DebateCon 7, this Saturday in Houston, Texas. You can watch it live from home. It's a perk for our Final Word channel membership tier. Check out those memberships right now by clicking the join button. And also, if you haven't yet, hit the like button, whether you're watching here or elsewhere. We're going to kick it into the open dialogue. And gentlemen, do I understand you guys are cool with debating each of your definitions in terms of does Trump fit the definition of...
Well, each of our positions. My position would be that Trump is not a fascist. My opponent is saying that he is a fascist. And so we'll be debating from both of those angles. I don't care if the front half of the debate is loaded against me or against you. It doesn't really matter. I think it's fair to pepper me about what I think fascism is.
Let's see how this
just like
debate
I'm about
goes.
to pepper you with what you think fascism is.
Sure.
Okay.
Either of you have a preference on whose definition to use first?
Well, let's go with Khan's. He's the one who's making the positive claim that he is the thing, and then we can get into mine. Or we can, even as we go, you can ask me if you'd like.
Potty
That's
there,
fine.
buddy.
I am curious,
go.
Andrew. Can you just quickly share your
I'll
broad-based
let you out in
definition
a
of
second.
fascism that you'd use as like a shorthand?
Yeah. So fascism is an ideology that proposes corporatist, palingenetic, and ultranationalist state. That's what fascism is.
Okay. I just want to start off by addressing a few of the things you said in your opening statement. So
Yeah,
the
hang on, real
yeah.
quick, because I want to get some semantics out of the way, if you don't
Go
mind,
ahead.
just to make sure that we got this
No
right.
worries.
Ultranationalism is defined by you as what?
I would say that ultranationalism frames greatness of nations as a zero-sum game, where a nation's glory is derived from dominating other countries.
I have a quote here from those original fascists. I want to see if you will agree to this. Ultranationalists, from their view, all within the state, nothing outside the state, nothing against the state.
Is this an ideological thing or a descriptive
Yeah,
thing?
of course it's ideological.
My
They're
definition of fascism isn't even ideological, so I would reject that off
Oh, okay,
rip.
well, okay, how's it
Wait,
not
how,
ideological?
how can fascism not be considered ideological? Fascism is an idea that can be put into praxis. But how is it? How is it? It's definitionally an ideology.
Like I said, it's a socio-political phenomenon. That is how Robert Paxton and Jason Stanley describe it. And just to quickly clarify there,
It's not just how they describe it.
Hold on. They both call Trump a fascist. Robert
they don't.
Paxton says he doesn't use the word fascist because he finds it's basically colloquially lost all meaning. But after January 6th, Robert Paxton did say that Trump now meets the characteristics of fascism.
Nope.
And Jason Stanley has been saying the same for years.
No, first of all, Stanley's a political hack. Paxton is serious.
First, you're going to say that.
No, so hang on. Paxton is serious. He's not a political hack. Like, that guy is an actual, like, he has studied fascism. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Stanley, yeah, he's a political hack. He's a leftist. Come on, man. Paxton, though, he's more politically neutral. But you're basically operating off Paxton anyway, not really Stanley, at least by the definition that you're giving. Paxton himself did not actually say this. You're making this up. Here's what actually happened. Paxton has been saying for years that Trump does not fall under the criteria of being a fascist. Post J6, he said he was fine with him being labeled that. He was very careful with his words, though. He didn't actually say there's anything new here which makes Trump fall under this label. Only that he was fine now with the label because it had some utility use.
Did you not read his Newsweek article?
I did. Well, not his Newsweek. It wasn't Newsweek.
He wrote a piece in Newsweek after January 6th where he said, I'm now calling Trump a fascist.
Well, hang on. Let me pull the article up here.
Sure.
1 second. We'll make sure that we have it correct. But yeah, that was my interpretation from it because of the very first line. Read the very first 2 lines. It's all vibes and feelings, bro. Just read it. Read it out loud.
Lines of what?
Read the first 2 lines of the article that you're referencing.
Sure, let me pull it up.
Yep, pull it up.
Dang.
I'm curious why I pulled that up. Where are you deriving that you didn't call Trump a fascist?
Well, he was very cautious with his language in this article.
So it's literally titled. Hold on, let me make sure. By Robert.
It doesn't matter what it's
Paxton.
titled. It matters what
I've
he said.
hesitated to call Trump. I've hesitated to call Donald Trump a fascist until now.
Yeah,
I
that's
resisted
what
for
the
a long time applying the fascist label to Donald J. Trump. He did indeed display some telltale signs in 2016. I mean, you want me to read the whole thing, or he goes on to say
just
he's now.
right.
I think we got a bored troll. Matter, you don't have any meaningful things to do.
In the first line, right?
Uh huh.
I've hesitated to label Donald Trump a fascist. Even
Must
though
be
he had
living that
telltale signs,
fulfilled
right?
life, huh?
Yeah,
Average
what was
taints.
the new
Hesitated past tense,
What's
right?
the new criteria according to your definition that Trump fell under after J6? What is it?
I believe he said the leveraging of political violence. I can find specifically in
Yeah,
the
what about
article.
you though? You have a specific definition here.
Mm-hmm.
Did you agree with Paxton that before J6 Trump wasn't a fascist?
I would think that Trump was probably in stages 2 or 3 of fascism prior to January 6th, and I think after that we started arriving between stages 3 and 4.
So he was at at a certain percentage.
It's not percentages,
We're back
it's
to the
stages.
argument from Banana.
It's a cute analogy, but the biology of a fruit is not analogous to a political
Donald
movement.
Trump hasn't met any of the stages of fascism. What stages? According to the historic definition of fascism, what stages are you talking about?
The ones that I read in my opening statement?
Yeah, fascism was a response to socialism. That's what it's a response to. It's a third position. It's a third position.
You're describing one iteration of fascism.
No, that's the only iteration of it. Show me where else.
According to you, but
name
this isn't
another
even
fascist
settled,
nation besides
this isn't even
Mussolini's
settled in
Italy.
academic circles.
Well, then I don't want to hear you say it is.
I'm not. I'm giving you
Great.
my definition, which
And
I
I'm
think is
telling you
based
your
on scholars who
definition-
are better.
Your
And then
definition
And
is.
you're being
Love you.
pedantic about it.
I'm using the core arguments
See
from
you
the
mañana.
architects who made fascism.
And I
You're-
just
what
told
you're
you
doing is
why
saying,
Robert
here's-
Paxton said that's dumb to
Here's
do.
what you're doing. You're saying, I'm using the interpretation of other people for the source material. I'm saying, I read the fucking source material.
You clearly didn't, though.
I clearly did. What do you want to know about
You literally
actual
claimed that Robert
originating
Paxton does
fascism?
not think Donald Trump's a fascist.
He doesn't. There's no new criteria added.
Literally, it's not about new criteria. It's about Trump's behavior changing such that he now
He said
falls
that
under
he's
a
now
definition.
fine with the label. That's it.
And I can also, if you're talking about, okay, this is just what do you?
So my opponent is overextending themselves. I get one more mana. I need one more swamp. So this does work out for me.
Giovanni Gentile is the guy who describes what fascism is, and you think Robert Paxton is valid here. He himself has said the words of fascist intellectuals, even if we
Wait a
accept.
second. Hang on.
Yeah.
You're conflating a couple things.
Okay.
I agree that Paxton is a popular scholar for fascism, namely because he basically is trying to give you guys a name the trait argument and leftists love him. Not that I cede that his authority on
You have
fascism.
to poison the well with that.
Not that I cede that his authority on fascism is correct, because it has nothing to do ultimately with third positionism, and I completely reject it based on the definition that I gave for fascism, which is 3 core pillars, and you need to have all 3 of them there. Starting with yours, though, your definition. How's Trump an ultra-nationalist?
I actually have it written down right here. So he, hold on, there we go. He builds, fuels, and justifies his movement with allusions to a once glorious, now desecrated past, which can
It's not
only be
ultranationalism.
reattained. Can I finish? And you'd hear the word ultranationalist in there. He builds, fuels, and justifies his movement with allusions to a once glorious, now desecrated past, which can only be reattained through ultranationalism. He talks about the return of a golden age of the nation and an era of decline that went after
Yeah,
it.
you're talking about what's called paleogenetics here.
That's
you're
from
talking
a
about
different scholar,
paleogenetic.
Roger something.
Yeah, you're
That's a
talking,
different
but that's
scholar.
what it is. It's paleogenetics. So the thing
I
is,
didn't use the
like,
word paleogenetic.
you don't
there's
need to,
overlap
but that's
between
what it's
definitions
describing.
here.
What you're describing there is not ultranationalism.
I just want to be clear. There's plenty.
Polygenetics, is that many origins? Polygenetics? Poly or pol meaning multiple, genetics meaning origin.
Of overlap between different
What
definitions.
does
here,
that
right?
have to do with ultra nationalism, dude? Nothing you just said has anything to do with ultra nationalism.
I already answered your question
hang on,
earlier.
Stop, bro. Stop. Let me finish. It's
Okay, then don't ask a
tautological.
question. Don't let me answer.
It's tautological. Okay, what you're doing is you're saying
Tautology.
the way that Trump is ultra nationalistic is because he says things that can only be achieved through ultra nationalism. That's not telling me how he's.
I think you're
how
misunderstanding my
he is-
claim.
well, then tell me how he's.
So ultranationalism is sort of an aesthetic or a communication strategy in this case, where his governance frames American greatness as a zero-sum game.
That's
For
not what-
America to
nope.
be great, it must maximally use its power in a might makes right framework.
That's just nationalism.
Might
How
makes
would you
might.
distinguish? When does it become
I already
ultra?
told you, but I'll tell you again.
When does it become
right?
ultra? Where's the line for you?
I'll tell you exactly where the line comes in.
Yeah.
When it becomes that all loyalty is to the state, that's ultra-nationalism.
Yep.
When everything goes all within the state, nothing outside the state, nothing against the state. The whole point of fascism was to utilize ultra-nationalism, loyalty to the state, to introduce corporatism. It couldn't work without
So
ultra-nationalism.
do you think
Hang on, hang on.
ultranationalism?
Hang on.
Okay.
because ultranationalism itself, right, is not corporatism is not even possible absent that. So threshold breaker is not. So let me ask you the same question in reverse. When does ultranationalism become just regular nationalism?
I mean, it's obviously a blurry line. There's not going to be
So you
one
don't
moment
know.
where like, oh, now all of a sudden it's no.
So
We
you
can
don't
talk
know?
about specific examples that would illustrate where the line is. I don't know if you want me to give you a one-sentence
Let's.
summary of a topic that scholars have been debating for decades. You want
Well,
me to
hang on,
call
hang
it
on.
here for
You can't say to me, Andrew, where's the threshold breaker? And I give it to you. And I ask you the same question reverse. Where's your threshold breaker?
No, because
You go,
you're
"I
the
don't
one
know."
who took issue with the
I don't
threshold.
know.
I didn't say anything about thresholds. You're the one who took
did.
issue with it.
You did. You said
You brought up
You
the-
asked specifically this question. When does nationalism become ultranationalism? I
Yes,
gave you
and
the exact
why did I
criteria.
ask that question?
I gave you the because you
Why did I
haven't
ask
told
that
me what
question?
ultranationalism
No, because
is.
you said Trump. That's nationalism, not ultranationalism.
Yeah, that's nationalism. Correct.
To
so
you,
what's the
it's-
difference? Well,
Hold on,
how is
hold
it?
on.
Oh, what's the difference
I
between
just have
nationalism and ultranationalism?
Maybe we're talking about different things here. Do you think ultranationalism cannot be a rhetorical strategy? It's just an ideology.
Yes.
So it can't be a rhetorical strategy.
Well, I mean, you can allude. Anything could be a rhetorical strategy.
Okay, so when I'm talking about fascism, I'm talking about number one, how it behaves, and number two, how it presents itself.
Yeah, but
through
that doesn't mean it
propaganda.
is the thing.
And that is where ultranationalism comes into it. Just like the mythic past he describes, I don't believe there was actually a mythic past, Andrew.
So
but
what's
that's one of the
ultranationalism?
justifications.
I mean, if it just comes down to belief, if I don't believe there was this thing, then that thing doesn't exist. Well, I don't believe that you have a right to not believe what I believe. Do you believe what I'm saying?
What is it? What is
I
it?
already told you.
Yeah,
It
man.
frames American greatness as a zero-sum game. For America to be great, it must maximally use its power in a might makes right framework.
And what's
That
the
is how
difference
it's
between
framed.
that
Might makes doesn't make right.
and nationalism?
It's not a zero-sum game necessarily. It
So
doesn't
what's
take
the
things to
difference?
that
So
extreme.
is there a difference or not?
So it's a zero-sum game, but it's not a zero-sum game necessarily. I mean, do you not see how these people they're just so milly-mouthed, dude? They're wishy-washy as all get out. They say one thing and then kind of counteract it like seconds later.
Zero-sum game?
Is there a difference or not?
Yes,
I'm
I
not
think
asking if it's zero-sum.
ultra-nationalism takes nationalists into zero-sum territory, which changes how it's going to behave on a world stage and
No.
starts overlapping with imperialism as well.
No, ultranationalism from a fascistic point of view.
From your
It-
fascistic point of view,
From
your
from
definition.
Giovanni Gentile, the orchestrator of fascism, the
This is like
inventor of
asking a
it.
cult member how cults work and using his ideology
It was the cult leader, for crying out loud, dude.
to define like the science of cults. Like it just doesn't make sense to take
What are you
one
talking
iteration
about?
of fascism in Italy and say this is how we define all fascism now. Like why
No,
can't
no,
we
no,
have a
no, 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 no.
diagnostic framework here?
Ultranationalism has to be distinct from nationalism somehow.
Mhm.
When you say
Mm-hmm.
the things that you just said can be attributed to nationalism, here's why, and not ultranationalism. Let's look at the distinctions here. When you say you're a nationalist, you're putting your nation before other nations. That is a zero-sum game.
Not necessarily, no.
Most of the time, it's a zero-sum game. The idea here is if it's good for me, right? I'm going to do if there's two choices presented to me, this one will be good for you and me.
No,
or
but
this
what
one over, hang on,
ultranationalism
stop,
says-
bro, stop, bro. Or this one over here will be much better for me than you, right? Then you take that one. That's usually nation first. Ultranationalism, the threshold delineator here, is that the state itself becomes a body, and that's where the allegiance and loyalty must
That's the
always
ideology.
lie, is to the state.
That's the
From the-
idea.
Just absolutely frustrated. My opponent just yielded. Look at this. My opponent just yielded with 50 life. I think I'm onto something with this deck, man. I really do.
From the people's perspective, that's what actual ultranationalism is. You're talking about just nationalism, the idea of
This
putting your
deck is
nation
a
above
giant
others. So
pain
what?
in the ass.
Putting
Yeah,
your
he's a
nation above
nationalist,
others
okay.
is different than saying that every instance of another nation being great is somehow subtracting from the finite amount of greatness that exists, and America must seize this greatness. If someone else is doing well, it must mean we've been ripped.
Wait, what do you, dude? What do you mean a finite amount of greatness needs to exist? What sad muppetry is this, bro? Do you not understand that these things are scalable up and down? Like that, there are very good pianists, and then there are master pianists, and then there are grandmaster pianists. I mean, there's somebody that's always better than everyone else. So, yeah, there is a limited amount of greatness, technically, but there's definitely a hierarchy.
Off as a country.
Oh,
That
is
is
that
one step
right?
above just nationalism.
So what is? Well, let me ask you this: when you say it's fundamentally un-American, which you say all the time, what does that mean?
When did I say it's fundamentally un-American?
When you say things are fundamentally un-American, this is
did I
an
say that?
un-American thing.
When did I say that in this entire
I don't
debate?
remember the exact debate, but you did say that. Well, that sounds un-American.
Oh, you're saying at some point in the past, okay.
Yeah, that's un-American. What does that mean?
It
When you
depends
say
on the
it's
context.
un-American.
It depends on the context in which
Well-
I said it. I'm
well, are
probably
you-
alluding to like liberal democratic values of the
So
Constitution.
you're alluding to some
broadly.
like previous time when you think things were more American?
No, I'm alluding to values.
Yes, values based on what? If you make a statement about whether something is American, more American, or less American, then you have to have a metric by which to measure it, right?
Okay, so ideology.
Values. I mean, ideology can be kind of like a formalization of values, but
I don't
they're not
even-
necessarily synonymous.
I think they are. I don't know how you get to values without ideology.
Okay, you can just have them as like a sort of like a what do you call it? Like the premise of what you believe. You can just have.
I have
like,
values. I have
inherently.
values. What's the framework for them?
Do you have to be ideological to have values?
Yeah, I think you do.
All right, this is going to
So
be a
people
bad,
that don't have an
bad
ideological framework, they don't value anything, they have no preferences, or
Yeah,
This might not work out very well.
usually they're called moral anti-realist or nihilist. So yeah,
no, but they would
generally-
still
Oh, that is so
descriptively
smart.
have values. They have preferences. They choose to do certain things over others.
Well,
they value certain things
well,
and
hang
not
on.
others, right?
If they have
I like that.
preferences, then we're getting into ideological territory and dogmatic territory, right?
Well, an ideology is going to be like internally consistent usually and codified or
Yeah.
formalized.
So if you
version
say
of
I have a
values.
preference for things I like, that's the highest value. Now we're in
It's
dogmatic
not really an
territory.
ideology, though.
That is really an ideology.
Okay, I don't know if
It
you
is
want to disagree
really
to disagree here.
100%
This is
an
like we're going in
ideology.
circles on this.
But
I don't know.
anyway, that aside,
Yes, you go in circles because your worldview is very schizophrenic, buddy.
the distinction here is on ultranationalism versus nationalism.
Yeah.
The whole idea for ultranationalism, within all of the framework in World War II, especially,
Yeah, I understood
right,
your definition.
was not just with Germany. It was, right? It's 1,000-year millennia. It's going to be the Third Reich 1,000 years into the future from Benito Mussolini. This is going to be futurism, man. We're going to be Italians with cool cars and we slash each other's faces with swords and shit. We love this stuff. And we have part of this is going to last for 2,000 years. That's what it's going to be. It's an ideology which is formatted around the loyalty and body of the state being adhered to as the highest value of the citizen. That is ultranationalism.
That's how
Trump
you're
does not
defining it.
run. Trump does not run anything with, well, you can't give me a threshold breaker. You just say, I don't know.
Wait, do you think that two things can't be distinct if there isn't a very like
I think
solid
you're not
line in
making a
between them?
case. You're not making a case, though,
No,
for how
Why would the trolls leave, JP? They get more interaction here than they do with the people that claim to love them.
these are
the-
distinct.
The supposed issue you're trying to point out in
Kinda
my
sad,
logic,
really.
I'm just trying to clarify if you'd hold that standard in other situations. Do you think if there's like a blurry delineation or a blurry distinction between two concepts, that means we ought to call them the same thing?
Not always, unless we have something which is conceptually a delineation which is provable.
Do you accept that there can be ambiguity in delineations of concepts that are very
Sure.
closely related?
Yeah, of course.
That's all I'm saying.
That's part of my argument, but it has nothing
Part
to
of
do
my
with,
argument as well.
has nothing to do with this argument.
It has
What you're
everything to do
asking
with
me
this
to
argument.
do, what you're asking me to do is in a vacuum tell you if there can be overlap or ambiguity between concepts or relations of ideology.
Or I guess not in a
concede-
vacuum in
hang
real
on.
life as well.
I
then, huh?
concede that that is the case,
Uh-huh.
right? But in this case, I'm not conceding that. So do you agree with me that while I can concede that that can be the case,
Mm-hmm.
that it can also be the case where there is something which is distinct that
Yes,
can
and
be
I think
pointed
that
to?
the last
hang
place you'd
on.
find that
Let me
is
finish the
social
question. Let me
sciences.
finish the question.
Yeah.
That there is delineations which can be made between ideologies that can be easily pointed to, like Marxism, for instance. I can give you a very easy delineation between Marxism and other forms of ideology. Stateless society could be one of those, right? Things that we could agree to as being distinct, right? And what does a stateless society mean, and how we
Yeah.
get into that. In this case, you're not actually telling me
Oh, we're at 5, yeah.
where it
Yeah.
is that how we get to the ultra-nationalist
Told you
thing.
multiple times.
No, you didn't. You just said
Ultra nationalist. I mean, ultra natural. I mean, that's like social justice. Justice is justice. When you throw social in front of justice, it becomes something absolutely bastardized and different. How do people not notice that? How do people not see that? How can they not see that? Hmm. Well, let's get our attack on.
There's ambiguity.
I'm glad you brought up the Marxism example. So yeah, you can probably give me easy distinctions between Marxism and like capitalism, but giving me distinctions between different types of Marxism becomes a
Oh,
lot
it's
more
about to
blurry.
draw
So it
a
is
lot
true.
of cards.
There are many situations where delineations can be pretty binary, and it doesn't have to be overcomplicated. The last place where that would be true is the social sciences.
37.
Like,
Okay,
it's
tell
not the
me that.
biology of
I
a
just want to
fruit.
hear the distinction then. What's the distinction between ultranationalism and nationalism?
I've told you making it a zero-sum game multiple times. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
how many
but
more
how
times
does
you
that
say
different than
You said earlier making it a zero-sum game, but not necessarily a zero-sum game. So you made a statement and then immediately backed away from the statement. Now you're like a dog returning to the pool of its own vomit to lap it up. You're right back to doing it again. Then.
or just regular nationalism?
Regular
What-
nationalism
what
doesn't
the hell?
necessitate zero-sum frameworks.
Okay, give me an example of that.
Like regular
Of
nationalism.
a nationalistic policy that's not putting the nation first in a zero-sum category.
Well, it's putting the nation first, but not in a zero-sum way.
Okay, give me an example.
So this
of
could
that.
be like doing protectionist policies.
How can you
on-
be putting the nation first unless that was a zero-sum? How does the nation come first if you're compromising on the nation coming first?
What are you asking?
How are you putting the nation
Oh my God,
first
really,
if you're
dude?
willing
Yeah.
to compromise on putting the nation first?
What do you mean willing to compromise on putting the nation?
Well,
first?
if it's the case, you agree with me.
So you're compromising. You're willing to let a Democrat run against the Republican, right? I mean, how does he not get that? Like, you're willing to compromise while you're in the process of trying to put the nation first. Democratic elections, you know, an electoral college, representation, a republic, right? Like, compromising while trying to put the nation first. That's what I guess that's what he's talking about.
Nationalism is putting your nation first, right?
It's kind of a short definition, but okay.
Yes. So
I
if that's
guess-
the case, how do you put your nation first if you're willing at the same
Maybe
time
some damn creatures
to
or a
not
board
put your
clear or
nation
something
first?
here.
If you're willing at
Question
the
is
same
like
time,
unrelated to what I've
no,
been
it's
saying.
completely related. How can you
How is it
put
related?
How can you put your nation first? Because you're saying that nationalism is nation 1st but it's not zero sum. I'm arguing that it has to be zero sum or it can't be nation first.
And
That's
this-
the zero sum. The nation comes first.
Zero sum meaning that if the nation's doing well, that means that other countries have to be doing worse in proportion to how much better the nation's
That's
doing.
not. Well, wait.
That's
Wait
what
a
zero
second.
sum is.
Wait a second. It's
No.
also zero sum to say your nation comes first. That's a zero sum categorical statement, right?
It doesn't have to be zero sum.
Why? Then how can
Your
you, how
nation
can you
can
always,
be first, while
It's
other
just- does your
nations are also
nation
doing very
always-
well.
But does your nation always come
Hold on,
first?
you understand that like even people that believe in like multilateralism and like
sure.
cooperation internationally, they can also wanna put
Does
their
your nation
first.
always come first?
What are you even talking about?
Do-
right now?
in nationalism, are you always putting your nation first?
Yeah, broadly speaking, yes.
Are you uncompromising in putting your nation always first?
It depends on what we're talking about in,
Need
in the
board
specific
clear right
iteration of
now.
it, because you're defining it as an
Well, then you're
ideology.
not. Then it's
No,
P and
because
not P.
the
It's a
issue here-
philosophical
the issue
contradiction.
Is, the issue is you're trying to
What is he saying? P is P, P is not P. It's a contradiction, right? 4 is equal to 4 is true, and it can't also be false. Otherwise, it's a massive contradiction, right?
debate me
Come
on
on,
the
what
ideology
the
of
hell, dude?
ultranationalism, and then I'm defending
all I've
the
gotten is
rhetorical
fucking
strategy
land.
of ultranationalism.
Anyway,
I don't know. This is not a great
Good game.
pivot for you.
No, it's what
Is
I've been
it-
saying since the
Is
beginning
it
of the
My
debate,
deck
because,
Andrew.
yeah, but
did
it's
not
incoherent.
perform
This
at
is
all there.
incoherent. It's P
You're
and not
making
P.
it incoherent by going in circles and asking
It's
the same
P
question
and
over
not
and
P.
over.
Well, because what you just said is incoherent. If it's P and not P, so the idea here is, Andrew, nationalism means you always put the nation first, always, right?
You'll get a reward.
Right?
Yeah, but then the question is, what does putting the nation first mean?
Okay, hang on.
oh,
If
come
you're
on, man.
always putting the nation first, then it's already zero sum.
So whatever it is that puts the nation first, can be an objectively measurable thing. The fact that this kid's trying to put a subjectivity ruler on it is kind of interesting.
Because it's an always statement.
Wait, what do you
It's
think zero sum
always
means?
Means no compromise, no negotiation, no nothing, right?
No, no,
Isn't that
zero sum means there's like a finite amount in the pie, and that if someone's getting more of the pie, that necessarily means that someone else cannot get more of it. Right?
No, zero sum is you're getting it all. Like, it's all about profit. Zero sum profit. Like, you don't care about anything other than maximizing profit. That's an example of zero sum profit.
Right? So if
wait
America's
a
doing
second.
better, yeah.
Hang on. Let's back up.
Yeah, I don't think this guy
You
really
think that zero?
understands.
Let's just make sure that we got this right. A zero sum game.
hmm
What are we referencing there?
I'm referencing a situation where one person doing better necessarily means that someone else has to do worse.
Okay, and so the nation, the United States,
That's capitalism,
always, to
dude.
put it first, needs to be the one that's always doing best, right?
Come on,
Because
what
we're
is
putting
going
it
on
first.
with
Okay,
this
zero
damn
sum.
Zero
fucking
sum. No,
shuffler,
you're making an
dude?
always statement that
Hold
we
on.
always,
Oh, it's
even
such
at the expense of other nations,
crap.
So you're
must
saying
be doing best.
it's not possible for the nation
I
to
like
be put
this.
first and for other countries to also be doing very well, but just not in
Hang
first
on, hang on.
place.
Here's the problem with this, right? I can
Okay.
concede
They are
this
on that.
point, but you still have to concede mine.
What's your point?
So the thing is like, sure, you can
What's
say
your
that the
point?
United States.
How is it that how is it that Andrew can figure out what his opponent's point is, respond and then state his own point, yet the opponent can't seem to figure out what the hell Andrew's talking about. Sounds to me like somebody's not paying any damn attention. Got the dog eating the bone in the background, so you might hear some popping.
States can do well, and you can also do well. But when we're talking about the uncompromising positions, that the United States is always going to be first in this, right? That's uncompromising,
in rhetoric,
no matter what, not just in rhetoric, in action.
in how I'm using it, it's uncompromising in rhetoric. And
Oh,
again,
okay, now you're going
the
to pivot
United
again?
States,
So not in
people
action?
can rewind the debate. I've been saying that it's a rhetorical
So
strategy since you
ridiculous.
asked me first about ultranationalism. So if people think that's a pivot, they can just rewind like a few minutes back. Andrew, it's pretty simple here.
So
Someone
fascism
can be,
is
hold on,
rhetorical.
let me just quickly address that. It's a mix of rhetorical strategies and behaviors. I don't know how many times I have to repeat that. But again, ultranationalism,
Mm-hmm.
I'm referring to here as a rhetorical strategy that is used as the justification for the authoritarianism and the vilification.
Yeah,
It's
but
the
that
fuel
doesn't
for the
get us.
machine.
Yeah, but that doesn't get us any close to what
Yeah,
ultranationalism actually
some of the
is.
art's
It doesn't
really
get
cool.
you any closer to it, but
It
I
doesn't get
think-
anybody any closer because it's tautological. It's just like ultranationalism is the very thing that we're appealing to justify this other thing, and that's what ultranationalism is. It's like that's a tautology.
No,
the
I
thing is-
explained what ultranationalism
No,
is, and then
you really
explained its
didn't. You said
functional
it's a
utility in
zero-sum-
fascist
You said it's a
movements.
zero-sum game.
When it comes to nationalism, yes, it's an
Okay, so
extreme
are
form
you
of
saying-
nationalism.
Are you saying that ultranationalists then can't make compromises with other nations?
Substantively, they could, but they'll never admit it rhetorically.
Okay, wait a second. So
As I've been
Benito Mussolini, the fascist, would never admit that they compromised with any other nation.
I mean, if it was an allied nation, he might, because it isn't going to be like
then
actually bolstering his own.
What are you talking about?
If the compromise is not at the detriment of his own nationalist sentiment, then what would be the issue with that?
Well, because in this case, I can actually give you examples of where fascists compromised with other nations, which would have been them making a compromise, even though they were
How long do you want to stay
ultranationalists.
on the ultranationalism thing?
Well, I think that it's the core of your pillar.
It's no. I gave you my 3 affirmative claims and invited you to challenge.
Yeah, I know,
each
but you
one.
also gave me a definition, didn't you?
Right, and then I condensed that definition into 3 affirmative claims for the
Yeah,
purposes
but-
of this
No, I
debate.
guess the guy. Oh, okay. So zero sum game. All right. So zero sum profit. What is zero sum profit margin? Maybe I've been using that one. I see zero sum game. Zero sum game meaning Wall Street. Yep. I guess maybe I've been using that term wrong this whole time. I guess I have a different understanding. I've been educated. Yeah, I learned something new.
I'm saying that well, hang on. The 3 affirmative claims don't have anything to do with fascism. They have to do with authoritarianism.
Nope.
Okay, let's start with claim 1.
Sure. Do you want me to read all 3, or do you want to just read
Read
number
all
1 for
3.
now? Okay. The first claim is Trump is an authoritarian whose political project seeks to centralize and consolidate power by engaging with our laws in bad faith.
Sure,
That's gonna be a
I can see the
problem.
point.
2, he uses his position of power to vilify, intimidate, and oppress his opposition and those he designates as member of outgroups.
I see the point.
3, he builds, fuels, and justifies this movement with allusions to a once glorious, now desecrated past, which can only be reattained through ultranationalism.
I see that point too.
Cool. Thanks for having us, James.
That's not me ceding to fascism.
Well, you're ceding that, by my definition, Trump is a fascist.
No.
He just explained it in the beginning of his opening. Just because 60% of our DNA is similar to a banana doesn't mean that we ourselves are bananas.
Because your definition has a key word here, which is not in any of those 3 pillars. Ultra nationalist.
I just said that was
And
at the end of the third pillar.
Here's the problem.
Or was
with
it the
it.
end
No,
of the
no,
third
you
pillar?
said he appeals.
Hmm.
You're saying he appeals to some like rhetorical ultranationalism or something.
Yes.
That's not ultranationalism.
To you, it's not.
No, it's just not.
Okay, cool.
It's just objectively not ultranationalism. Even if I concede all 3 of these points, it doesn't demonstrate Trump's a fascist.
Why not?
Because the metrics for ultranationalism are not in place. None of them.
Because you're using
All
a
What's up,
other
Dave?
definition of
Dave's in the
ultranational-
house. Hey, brother. Good to see you. This is just a really chill, boring stream, bro. Just listening to your favorite guy, Andrew Wilson, doing some debating.
No,
Then
because
I'm
I'm using
intending with
the
my
definition
definition.
of
Playing some Magic.
ultranationalism.
So is there like a consensus
From
on
the
what
fascists,
ultranationalism
yes,
means?
yes, there's a consensus of ultranationalism versus nationalism.
Who's
That's
the
one thing.
consensus between?
Well, in this case,
You
we
and
would
yourself?
we're looking at the architects of fascism, what they considered it to be,
And I
which is
already
Giovanni
explained to
Gentile.
you why appealing to the architects of this ideology, who are always going to dress up their methods with ideological flourish, is not really relevant in the
Hugin.
descriptive
It's the
analysis
most
of whether or not
relevant.
someone is a fascist.
It's the most
Ooh.
relevant is whether or not they follow the actual ideology. What you're trying to do is name the trait.
Hold it down,
vegan,
Cheryl.
name the trait argument for fascist.
I don't know
And it's
where
like, no,
veganism came from. You're the one who brought up
fascism-
bananas earlier.
Fascism is but that wasn't to demonstrate anything vegan related.
I know,
So
I'm
anyway,
just
the
with you.
point is here is that fascists themselves told us what they considered ultranationalism to be within the
Yes, and
state.
cult members tell us what their cult
nothing-
is all about.
What the hell's going on, man? I mean, the last game I had a bunch of swamps out here. Do I not have enough damn swamp? Hey, yeah. What the hell, Jimmy?
Their ideology.
Yeah, of the cult, but then they're
Yeah.
gonna conveniently ignore that ideology for purposes of
So
achieving power.
you're saying that you're going to tell Christians what they believe more than Christians are going to tell you what they believe.
I'm not here to talk about.
That's actually a pretty good question. What is an average taint? Like, I don't even know. I mean, I have a general idea of what a taint is. But I've never really had occasion to stare at one to know enough whether one would be, I don't know, average or below average or above average.
About religion, so no, I'm not telling Christians anything.
Well, do you consider Christianity an ideology?
It's a religion. I mean, I guess it's an ideology, sure.
Yeah. So the thing is like, why would you yield to them on their ideology then and what they
You
believe?
know the
Because
swamp.
religions, especially organized religions, are by definition going to be formalized doctrines that you have to adhere
And
to.
with dogmas, right?
Yeah, sure.
And don't you consider
And we're talking
Giovanni-
about
Hang on,
socio-political
don't
phenomenon.
you consider? Yeah, don't you consider these social political advocates of this particular ideology to have written dogma pertaining to the very ideology that they then instituted in their nation? In Gentile's case and Fascist Italy's case, they brought on 22 sectors of new corporatism.
Yeah.
They had dogma that they actually acted on. It wasn't in a vacuum. They acted on the dogma.
Let me ask you a question about
instituted
that.
the dogma.
Would they deviate from that ideological dogma if it meant expanding or consolidating their power, or would they say, no, I have to stick to the dogma, like the fascist leaders in those situations?
Well, and I think in Italy, they would not have deviated. In Franco Spain, they may have deviated.
Sure. All I'm trying to get at here is that what a fascist says fascism is probably going to be dressed up in a certain way that is going to obfuscate or straight up omit certain aspects of how fascism actually functions.
Yeah, so are
And
le-
again,
yeah,
I'm using
but
a
left-wingers-
diagnostic definition.
Why shouldn't I do the exact same thing? I'm giving you a
You can do whatever you want.
Not only a diagnostic definition, I'm giving
Well, that was mighty white of you to let him do whatever he wanted.
you the most concise historical definition. It's a historical movement. It's
me
not
a
just
very
a
narrow
capturing.
definition.
It's not just capture. I gave you such a narrow definition. It's unbelievable. I'll give it to you again. All right.
I know it's narrow, that's what I'm
Fascism is
saying.
an ideology that proposes corporatist,
Yeah.
pelaginetic, ultranationalist state. That's as narrow as it could possibly be.
I know.
Do you want each of these to? I can
No,
expand on each.
I
of
know your
these.
definition. You talked about like the merging of the head and the body and the state and whatever. Like I know how you define it. I just don't like that definition.
Oh, that's nice. I'm glad you don't
Yeah.
like it.
I
can
just don't
mine.
like it.
It's
We
what
can
you've
just
been talking
ignore all
about
his.
for the
We'll
past
just ignore
49 minutes.
Yeah, we'll just ignore all historic context for the thing you call the
Just
guy.
like you ignore all the scholars you don't like by calling them leftist hacks.
Wait. The main one here, Paxton, right?
And Stanley.
I gave the olive branch. I was like, look, I like this guy's work. I understand. He is actually a scholar who's actually focusing on the issue. He is giving you expounded beliefs. He does utilize some of the historic context, right?
And what's wrong
But
with
he
Jason
almost,
Stanley?
He almost stays completely away from the. Who cares? He stays completely away
You
from
care.
the historic. He stays completely away, though, from the historic ideas of corporatism, third positionism, and
I'm
instead he's
getting
trying
tired.
to use a modern lens in which
God,
to
this is
gift to
boring, dude.
leftists or some
It's
shit.
not a
He
gift.
stays
I don't know why
completely
you're
away from
framing
a
it
lot
like
of that,
this.
which is why so many people
Gosh,
disagree
this is
with
boring.
Paxton. Third positionists.
And Paxton
By
disagrees
the way,
with many people.
we
Gotta
have
speed it up.
modern third positionists right now who are advocating for their positions. We've got Keith Woods. We've got what was his name? The other one who used to be a big,
Boring.
I can't think of his name. Culture Thug. He ran a third positionist
Like a
thing
giant
for a long
circle
time
here.
that gained a lot of steam. There's lots of third positionists actually who we can appeal to tell us what the third position is, right? And what it is that the foundational philosophy is, this and that. All what you're trying to do is use morally ambiguous language in order to call your opposition that thing.
Yeah,
But you're
I'm
not
making a
actually creating.
prescriptive claim.
But you're not creating.
Descriptive.
Yeah. Well, wait. Prescriptive or descriptive?
I'm saying the claim I'm making is descriptive that Donald Trump is a fascist. You can
Yeah,
say,
I'm
yeah, he is,
making-
but fascism is good. That's a
Okay.
different
Well,
conversation.
here's the thing.
Yeah, definitely
I'm going to
need
make
more
the
swamp.
descriptive claim that fascism is
I need more
both
swamp in this
historic.
deck. I don't
It's
know
a historic
what the
movement,
hell.
and historic movements deserve historic
Understand.
definitions, and they just deserve to have their historicity brought into play when it comes to you
It's like the third game in a row that I've been struggling just to get another swamp.
defining them in a modern sense, so that you can understand what this ideology actually is, and that you
Take
are
a peek
completely bereft of
underneath the
that
hood here.
in your definition or even in explaining yourself here.
I don't want you to pivot from the Jason Stanley thing. Like, why do you think that he is like not
It's
credible here?
irrelevant and tangential.
No, it's relevant because you are the one who impugned his credibility.
Okay, now he's great. I'll just say he's great.
Okay, cool.
Okay, anything else?
Nope,
So
that was
okay,
it.
great. So anyway, it's tangential. It's irrelevant. That was the pivot.
That's
so back to this.
Okay, that's kind of slimy.
When we're talking
You don't
about
have to do that.
historic, when we're talking about you're the one who made the pivot. When we're talking about
Addressing what you
historic, when we're talking about historic, historic movements, they have historic definitions. Feminism does. Christianity has historic definitions. All ideology, communism has historical definitions. All of these things have historic definitions, which are laid in to what they actually are. For some reason, you want us to
All the lowly people, where do they all belong?
believe we should just ignore that for fascism.
I don't want to.
Trolling the YouTube because I've got no family that likes me at all.
To believe anything. I'm defending my position. If
Nobody call.
you think I'm wrong, I don't know what I'm supposed to do about that. If you want to be pedantic about what ultranationalism means and ignore every single point I make, that's your right to do. I am curious, when you conceded to my three affirmative claims, was that like a sarcastic, like, okay, liberal, whatever you say? Or was it
No,
like an
I'm
actual
pointing out
concession?
that
Oh my god, it's boring. Alright, let's see. Let's go check out Killa. Let's see what Killa's up to. Which one's the... Is this the right one?
What you doing in? All right, here. All right, we'll watch the fucking Charlie video because Charlie did a pretty good job on it. Penguin Zero. Here, let me drop the link for this one. If you guys want to check it out without hearing my bullshit over top of it.
Very serious today. Throughout the video, you're going to see my shirt changes. It's not some kind of like crazy, wacky, magic trick from America's Got Talent or anything. I actually filmed this video earlier this morning when the story first broke. It's the killing of Alex Preddy in Minnesota at the
Hi, Mouse.
hands of border agents. and I made the video, but I was pretty heated and I wanted to kind of simmer down and take a break, so I went out before posting it. I just got home, and now even more angles and videos have been released that show
You're welcome.
beyond a shadow of a doubt
Oh,
that
weeping,
this is a
weeping whore.
100% unjustified killing of an American citizen here. And it seems like
Yeah, I
the
agree.
execution stems from them finding out that he had a gun on his person. His Second Amendment rights. In all of the videos that exist, there is not a single moment where he is reaching for the gun, brandishing it, threatening with it, or anything at all. And we have video that shows the entire interaction from start to finish. His name was Alex Preddy, a 37-year-old nurse who
Wow,
worked in
Mr.
the
Carey.
ICU at Minneapolis VA healthcare system. And according to the police chief, he is a U.S. citizen with no prior interactions with law enforcement.
According to the police chief, I gotta say, this dude looks like he's straight out of fucking Israel. Man. This guy might even be a Mossad agent. I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Outside of a
You're not wrong. You have the right. Like when everybody made that whole argument back in the day about, oh, they're taking all of our jobs. They're doing. It's like, really? So you want to be out in the middle of fucking summertime, picking some kind of fucking crop as you're sweating your balls off?
Yeah, that's just such a fucking bad argument, though, Killa. Who's gonna pick our fruit? Who gives a fuck? Guess what? You don't get the fucking fruit that doesn't get picked, and then you make a different fucking choice. It's called fucking being alive, being an adult. Like what? I don't get it. Like, I can't. I mean, that's like Sage Outcast's argument. Who's gonna pick our fruit? Who's gonna drive our trucks and not be able to read the signs and do illegal U-turns and get American families killed? Like who's gonna pick our fruit? All right, Killa, you kind of missed on that one, but I respect your.
You want to go up there and you want to do roofing in the middle of the fucking summer?
Somebody's got to do it, but I guess the roof ain't gonna get put on a house. I guess we go back to living in mud huts with thatched roofing.
In fucking blazing Arizona? They do. They
Like, so I mean, what are we saying here? Necessity is the mother of all invention. Just because you don't want to do back-breaking, horrible work doesn't mean slavery should be okay. Right? I mean, I'm against slavery. And what happens when you import a bunch of people that have no freaking business being here? Seahawks are going to whoop the Patriots. Oh, let it begin.
do a lot of shit that nobody else wants to do and that is very under fucking paid.
Right. So you just described slavery, Killa. I'm having an argument with Killa, and I'm watching his live stream. But no, I mean, I like to be able to like kind of like have this back and forth and kind of hone whether or not I would agree with something or if I would disagree with it. You know, I just think it's a good practice, personally. Let's see. Let's get rid of that one. There we go. Right,
a couple of traffic tickets and believed to be a lawful gun owner with a permit to carry. So for him to lose his life,
believed to be a lawful gun owner with a permit to carry. Why are we believing that without proof? Maybe he is. Maybe he isn't. Right? But why are we just granting this without proof? Why are we showing grace to this man who was pepper sprayed, allegedly in Minecraft, pistol whipped? You know, all these different things. Like, why are we showing so much grace to this man who was not on the sidewalk, not peacefully assembled, was, in my opinion, seemed like he was trying to protect that woman, those women. Maybe he felt like he owed them some protection because he's the handler that had him out there.
being shot multiple times by these agents, all because of him exercising his Second Amendment rights, which again, he wasn't trying to use as an intimidation tactic on the officers or anything like that.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with the original poster on this a lot. Go lay down. Stop heavy breathing into my mic.
When they were beating him on the ground, pistol whipping him on the ground, they happened to see that he had a gun, apparently. He wasn't throwing it at them as like a threat or something, or brandishing it or anything. He simply had it on him, which he was well within his right to do.
Yeah, I'm still kind of trying to hold my opinion a little bit, but right now things aren't, as far as I can see, things aren't looking so great.
And he got murdered for it. This is completely unacceptable. And the fucking drones that are somehow like parading around like this is some kind of victory or something is sickening. It should be viewed as treasonous by any real Americans when you see this footage. And they had the gall to say that Alex Preddy was like the instigator, labeling him a domestic terrorist. I saw from a couple of places, claiming that.
And I do want to point out to people too, right? Like, yeah, being an illegal alien over here is against the law, right? But at the same time, I don't think people realize like the whole you getting a citizenship here is all pay to play, right? Because if you have enough money, even if you're a total shitbag in another country, if you have enough money, you can get in here and become a citizen because you have the fucking money. So, like, for them saying they're getting rid of all these drug dealers and rapists and this, that, the other, a lot of that's a crock of shit because they allow some of these people to be citizens because they had the money to fucking pay to play. Now, I know other people that been here, they married somebody, they've been here for fucking 15 fucking years, but they don't have the $12,000 or $13,000 that they need to pay to get their fucking citizenship for our country. So they need to kind of overhaul the whole fucking system and make sure like the right people are coming in here, not the people that can fucking pay to come here.
He approached these agents with a 9mm. He approached them with a gun looking to start shit. But that is not true. In all of the videos you see, he has a phone in his hands. Not a gun in his hands. He has a phone in his hands. No sane person would ever mistake a phone for a gun. This is blatantly obvious what they're trying to do. And it's something they've been doing a lot recently. Trying to tell you that what you're seeing isn't real. Trust their words, not your eyes. That is completely fucking outrageous. And people are willingly doing it. That's the craziest part. There are people that...
Alright, so this guy's starting to get a little fucking... He's getting a little feminine, he's getting a little emotional.
That are like, oh, I saw he had his phone, but if they say it was a gun, well, it must have been a gun. I cannot believe we've reached this level of brainwashing. There are so many angles of this, and in every single...
Believe me, that's because, like, this whole bullshit divide, right? Fucking, the other side's bad, no matter who the other side is. If you're a Dem, the Republicans are bad. If you're a Republican, the Dems are bad, right? So if their side's doing it, it's all fine and fucking dandy. If the other side's doing it, it's the end of the fucking world. That's why, like, this whole, like, you and versus them against people versus is all bullshit. Because our government's just sitting up there laughing at us.
All right, I agree with Killa.
One of them, you can see he has his phone in his hand, and at no point during this interaction did he ever, like, pull a gun on them or anything. And in fact, in one of the angles, you can even clearly see that the agents actually...
Yeah, people don't realize how important Pinky Toe is.
Actually took the gun from him prior to him being shot. You can actually see what looks to be one of the agents disarming him, taking the gun out of its holster and running away with the gun prior to him being shot.
I hate how a lot of the media too, like the mainstream media, used that picture of him where he's almost like chest to chest with the ICE agent. Because that was like such a fucking, we watched the video, that was like so split fucking second that they really had to like go through the fucking footage to find that exact shot that lasted a matter of like a fucking second and use that like he was sitting there in the ICE agent's face arguing with him the entire fucking time.
I don't know what's going on, dude. I don't know what the fuck, dude. I win like 3 games. I went Diamond 2. You know, now I lost 3 games in a row. What the fuck is going on with the mana, dude? Like, seriously. Fucking retarded ass shuffler. Make up your fucking mind. God almighty, it's such a pain in the ass.
Stern, I'm waiting for that shit to happen again, to tell you the truth.
You'll get a reward. Go here when you're ready
Yeah,
to play
fuck
again.
That
Same.
shit was fucking crazy, dude. Like the whole fucking BLM movement and them fucking going through and fucking up cities.
Yeah, you gotta be real careful.
And if that wasn't definitive, there is something even more clear that I think is completely irrefutable for anyone
Yep.
that's actually
You're right. You're
looking.
absolutely right,
An
Sophie. Schwartz.
agent takes Alex's gun out of its holster in front of the agent that pulls out his gun and shoots him. So he can see the gun has been taken out of the holster. And it is clear Alex Preddy has both hands on the ground. He does not have a gun in them. And an agent reaches in and takes it out of the holster right before another agent pulls out his firearm and shoots him in the back.
Yeah.
Just in
think
case you somehow missed it, look, the agent in gray has his hand on Alex's weapon, which is still holstered. It was never unholstered. The agent takes it out of its holster before he runs away with it, and the officer right next to him is the one that pulls out his gun and shoots him. And now I want to show you the
Yeah, Mr.
video
Gary.
that shows everything that happened here and how it doesn't go how the authorities are saying that it did.
But again,
I still think that had it gone the way that the authorities are claiming, that the body cam footage would have been out by now.
if they were smart, I don't blame you.
My nose is starting to run. I better catch it.
But again, like I was saying, the problem is, like I was talking when I was telling Angel Gamer, the problem is so much fuckery happened with these fucking protesters over in Seattle that even here, even if they're being chill in Minneapolis, they're doing a like lower level shit, like blocking the fucking road and being just a fucking nuisance. They're associated with what happened in Seattle and the violence that was occurring there on a daily fucking basis. Because we all know, fucking, once you're linked or associated with something, especially in law enforcement side, that's what you are. There's no getting the fuck around it. It's kind of like the same way where Hal Ryder, anybody that speaks out against Ryder is all KKK member or part of the Carlton crew or whatnot. Yeah. Portland, you're right. Thank you for the correction. I appreciate it.
That was Alex Preddy you saw walk by the camera right there.
Guy's basically
He has
playing
his phone in his
a
hand,
very
and
similar
then with
deck.
his other
I thought
hand,
about
his
using
open
these
hand,
two.
no gun in it, is waving cars through.
Damn.
There is clearly no brandishing of a firearm here. He is not approaching agents with a gun or anything like that, and you will never see anything even remotely close to that happen.
I'm still surprised, right? That that no one talked about that fucking ICE agent just fucking monkey dunking that
Come
fucking
on,
woman out of
dude.
fucking nowhere.
What the fuck? Like, for real, dude. What the absolute fuck is going on? I mean, I've got shit ton of fucking removal in this deck.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
This is becoming very,
This
very
section, you can again see Alex Preddy has his
So if we look in that video, it looks like the two women were talking to that ICE agent up the street a little bit. And the ICE agent was pushing the one heavier lady.
This turned into
And then
some
all of a sudden
bullshit,
he came
dude.
back and monkey ducked the other skinnier lady.
This is
phone in his
basically
hand, and now
this
he's
guy's.
trying to get some of the civilians away from these
I haven't even
fucking
seen a
farms
Dorian. I
that
haven't
are
seen
now
a single
starting
fucking
to
Dorian in
push
this
them.
game.
And then one of them got pepper sprayed.
In the
and
last
then
3
he got
games.
pepper sprayed as well. And when he gets pepper sprayed, you can see his hand shoots in the air like a student about to try and ask the teacher a question. It is a wide open palm. There's no weapon in that hand, and in his other hand is still the phone. There is no gun anywhere here. And now this is when he starts getting beaten by the multiple officers there.
Well, it's funny though. Like I said, freaking awesome. Like I was talking about earlier with the lobster in the pot and then turning up the heat. Look, after September 11th happened, they passed the Patriot Act, and the Patriot Act hurt us a lot more than it did good.
I think he meant the frog. The lobsters don't really jump out of pots, brother.
Right? It made everything fucking harder. It fucking took away a lot of our fucking rights and our freedoms. But because people thought it was to like protect us and go after terrorists, we were celebrating it. Well, yeah, good shit. Let's go get them, y'all. And now, fucking what? How many years later? 20 fucking years later, almost. Now we're like, oh fuck, what did we do? And there's no going back on it, because we all know once they get a bill through, there ain't no fucking turning back. We can't go, hey, yo, federal government, can we get a redo? Can we get a mulligan on that shit?
The fuck, people? The fuck is wrong with you? Honestly.
I'm gonna stop the video right here because this is when Alex Preddy gets shot to death. This fucking subhuman coward, you can see, pulls out his firearm and shoots him in the back, and then shoots him multiple times after as Alex Preddy lies on the ground. You can hear one of the agents says gun, and that's when this brain-dead troglodyte pulls out his...
Well, the fucked up thing anymore, right? Fucking in America, we don't have any rights to defend ourselves anymore, right? Especially depending on what state you fucking live in. So the federal government already said that police are not here to protect us in any sort or any shape. They're here to basically, they lock people up after crime occurs. And the federal government basically goes, oh, well, if you want to protect yourself, it's on you.
Yeah, and
But then if you live in a
then they punish you for carrying your weapon. Yeah, I see what Phil is going to say here, I think.
whole state, or more like a democratic state like New Jersey, there's no self-defense laws here. Zero. Someone breaks in your fucking house and you hurt them, you're still getting locked up. I think, like, if you really wanted to, like, brutally beat somebody or, like, end somebody in New Jersey, they have to break into your house and go into your bedroom before you can really fuck them up without getting in any kind of trouble. That's why, like, I laugh, because then, like, even people here that get like concealed carry permits and whatnot, I'm like, why? There's no point. If someone's doing something to you out on the fucking street and you pull out your gun and you shoot them, and here in Jersey, you're going to fucking jail anyway, because there's no self-defense here. So you're fucked. So how is it that the federal government goes, you got to take care of yourself, but then the state goes, oh, nope, you're not allowed to. You have to let our police do it, even though they don't need to do it. Like, make that make fucking sense. So if someone's attacking you, you just got to let them attack you and hope that the police show up before you die. Yeah. Fucking floating down to Delaware, brother. Floating down to Delaware.
Firearm and starts shooting into Alex while he was still surrounded by his boys, mind you. This is like the antithesis to all training that agents go through, by the way, to shoot into a suspect while still being
or you fucking take them motherfuckers to the Pine Barrens, JD.
Surrounded by authorities. You're going to get your own people shot too, by the way, you fucking moron, you unbelievable homunculus. So he immediately starts dumping into Alex because someone said gun. But the gun, from the other angles, you can see, had already been taken away from Alex, out of his holster. You can see one of the other agents running away with it. But again, he was never brandishing this firearm. And as an American citizen with Second Amendment rights and a lawful gun owner by all available information, he was allowed to have that gun on his person.
Thank you.
He's not...
All right, I appreciate the hard work, man. We're always trying to be a supportive person in the channel. I do appreciate that.
Grounds to execute a man because you fucking freaked out.
But see that, and that's why I always laugh, though, right? Because like technically, you know, America, we're the United States of America, right? But we're not. We have the red states and you have the blue states, and then
Probably gonna
then
get
they
rid of
all argue back
Elspeth.
and fucking forth,
Yeah.
and then fucking if I'm in one state, I'm fine. If I do the same shit in one state, but then do the same shit, say like, all right, I go over to PA and I'm able to fucking have a weapon and yada yada yada, right? I'm fine. I cross an imaginary fucking line in the same fucking country. Now all of a sudden I'm a fucking felon because I passed some imaginary fucking line into another state,
I don't think we'll do
but
that.
same country. Doesn't make any fucking sense. You know, my driving license is good in all 50 fucking states, but you're telling me if I have a license to carry, it's not good in all 50 fucking states? It's only good in one little fucking area? Like a lot of this shit, a lot of the laws on the books don't make any fucking sense at all. Not even a little bit. You know, well, we need to pass stricter gun laws for the criminals that don't follow laws, and that's what makes them criminals. The ones that buy like the guns off the streets or from another person, and usually the gun already has a couple bodies on it anyway, and they don't really give a fuck because they're gonna drop somebody with it in the first place. Just remember, fucking all laws do, like especially gun laws,
Appreciate
hurt
that,
fucking
Mr.
people that follow the fucking law, and make shit harder for the people that follow the laws to be able to follow the fucking law.
Out and panicked because the guy you were beating and pistol whipping with fucking 5 of your friends happened to be armed. He wasn't using it to try and like shoot anyone here or threaten them. They saw the gun and then this guy just freaked out and murdered him. Shot him multiple times. This is indefensible. Completely indefensible. And the fact that they even took him to the ground in the first place and started beating him, with one guy pistol whipping him, by the way. In other angles, you can see a guy just like pistol whipping him like he's trying to hammer a nail in with his gun. Like, it should have never even been acceptable for that to happen. All Alex Preddy was doing was filming, and then when some civilians started getting pushed, he tried to help. And when one got pepper sprayed, he tried to help.
Excuse
From
me.
all available angles and evidence and videos here, it seems to be that's all he was doing.
Loose cannon, so I
he
won't
even made
get
an
a
effort to
wrench.
try and show that he's not like a threat or something. Like he threw his arm in the air, wide open, nothing in his hand or anything.
Yeah.
He wasn't fighting back against the officers. He got taken to the ground and then immediately started getting beaten. Like, all because he was fucking filming and trying to help other people around here, it seems. This is so fucking sick. And the freaks that are cheering this
Holy
on and
crap.
parading around
I'm
like
ready
this
to
is
go
something to
sleep.
be celebrated are just scum. You're not even American. You're a fucking drone if you actually think this is a good thing. All you care about is just like sucking wiener from the authorities now all of a sudden. You care more about just being on a team than you do thinking for yourself. It's fucking tragic. It is embarrassing. This is crazy now that I'm seeing people justify this guy's murder because he had a weapon. Wake the fuck up. This is America. You can carry weapons. I sometimes carry a gun in public. I have friends who every day carry. It is your right as an American to carry a firearm if you so choose. That is not grounds for a murder. And based on all of the video footage, all of the available evidence, this guy was not brandishing it or anything like that.
Come on,
Just,
man.
He wasn't
Can't stop
threatening
coughing
anyone
today.
or about to shoot someone with it, so they had to kill him to stop him. That doesn't seem to be the case. They're now just using the fact that he had a gun as a justification to kill him.
Yeah, I get that, man.
Should be extremely alarming to anyone who cares about 2A. Like, again, him having it should not be an issue. And any real, actual American, like a real patriot, should be arguing for his right to carry because it is something that we have the right to do. And that should not be a justification for this man being killed by these agents. This point that they're trying to beat into the empty minds of a lot of people that are
Yeah, I think
trying
I'm
so
kinda
hard to
cooked here,
justify
Chet.
it is that the only people being arrested and targeted by ICE are
Dude, I absolutely fucking despise fucking New York City. Fuck New York
Oh,
City.
wow.
Yeah, I
Did you
mean,
hit the
like,
truck?
I just have to go up there all the time out to like Long Island and shit. And every time I had to go
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of catching something.
up that way, it's nothing but a shithole. We went up.
Whatever it is, probably in the freaking snow, dude. I'm telling you, man. I've had multiple people tell me there's something wrong with the snow. The snow is not snow, man. It's something different. It's chemical snow. Kind of like what they did in Soji or whatever it is. And
Up there during the summer. We took my son to the fucking they have a retired aircraft carrier out there, and then it's a whole museum and shit. And then they have the Space Shuttle Discovery is on the aircraft carrier. They built like it's on top of the aircraft carrier. They built a whole enclosure around it. It's pretty fucking cool though. But they don't tell you like that fucking their parking garage is under construction, right? So you have to pay X amount for the fucking tickets. And then if you want to go to a retired submarine there, it's more. So then you got to park in one of these fucking parking lots that it's a piece of shit dirt lot on the corner of some New York City lot where they demolished some fucking building, right? And then they charge you $50 for the fucking day. So just for parking alone and driving, it was like $300 to go to fucking New York. Fuck New York.
rapists and pedophile illegal aliens,
all right.
which is just not the case. There definitely have been rapists and pedophiles that have been snatched up in all of this, and those rapists and pedophiles.
Oh hell, let's see what Spider
I mean,
Dog's up there.
Everything you do is awesome, dude. But Oh, come on now.
It's true.
See how long
I
it
mean,
takes him to. It's
Original
true.
content. But, you know, it's not. A lot of people aren't really doing stuff like that. So I dig
Yeah,
it.
I do most everything.
Days in his jelly
myself.
donut, Batman. Oh, Spider Dog. I know your average taints, right? No? You got your spies in it.
First, you know what I
GS
mean?
is watching us. Oh
Yeah,
my
I
god!
dig it, yeah, I mean, even with my
GS
stuff,
is
sometimes I'm
watching
sort of like,
me.
I'm just copying myself over and over again. But it's just, what do? You know, you just
Gonna hurt.
what you got in you, you put it
Oh,
out.
what
and
the
if you
hell,
like
bro?
it, cool. If they don't, oh well.
True enough.
Sounds like a very sad.
So
lonely
there was
man.
another thing I wanted to just bring up in case Todd watches this.
There it is. There it is.
Sorry here. Fucking
There it is.
Another
Oh,
one
in
of those
case my
not really
boyfriend
planning
Twad
things
is
out
watching.
things, but-
Ooh. Twad makes me so hot.
Are you working on anything at the moment, or do you just put that out? Nothing in the
Oh, he knows I'm watching.
on the bench right now.
I have
I'm gonna do an okey doke on him.
chili video.
Loser.
I'm just checking in and making sure Elon doesn't actually look like that. Rat Boy reassured us we're all good. We can move on. Okay. Can you read that tweet?
New gambling is now the second fastest growing industry in the United States in terms of GDP growth.
Crazy, but not that crazy. I mean, of course, I'm surprised it's not number one.
Yeah, what's number one? OnlyFans?
Probably.
AI? Maybe?
Yeah. But yeah, that is going to continue to grow. And I saw a funny tweet. It says, got a buddy who is praying for World War III so he can win $390 on Polymarket.
Dark. Dark.
That is very dark. Next.
I mean, I tuned in for less than a minute, and he already said my name once. Oh, the one thing I wanted to cover or talk about in case Twad's watching. In case he's watching. Oh, I hope he's watching. Please watch my show, Twad.
Next is a picture of Rat Boy from a few years ago. There's that new trend, 2016, and then people show a picture from 2016. And we found one of Rat Boy from 2016 before we started working out.
Yeah.
That's you.
Yeah, I accept it. I accept it. Who does this? You brush everything? You button the polo to the top and you start brushing everything?
A lot of brushing.
And then you have open grinder? What's
Yeah.
next? You open grinder? All right.
That's true.
Okay.
And then our last clip from the final page is a tip for pain relief from the CIA.
Did you know, and I learned this when we were going through our situation, that if you're in pain, if you say the words 555-1212, it's like 555-12, 555. If you repeat that in your mind, your pain receptors will take away the pain, like for a headache. And I thought to myself, I was like, damn, how do they? Say it again? Like, there's a number that you have to repeat, 555-12, 555-12. You have to constantly repeat it and think of you saying the number, and it takes away the pain wherever the pain is. And I thought, this is all from the CIA. Like, and I'm thinking, damn.
Sound like a sex hotline.
Yeah, it's like.
You know that?
No.
You got to try it.
No.
I have a headache right now.
All right.
555-12, 555-12, 555-12. I'm imagining myself saying it. I'm seeing the numbers.
Should have done it before the show, brother.
I feel better.
Oh, okay.
I'm feeling good. Well, that's the end of housekeeping. We're now moving on to Cringe of the Week. All right, our first story from Cringe. This guy is showcasing his outfit for the first day of school. And he's got this whole setup. He's got the trinkets and the jewelry. He's pretty much wearing everything he's got, I think.
Yeah.
And I was going to say,
Didn't we
obviously
see
it
this
takes
one?
like 4 hours to do this.
Uh-huh.
What do you do tomorrow, the next day?
There's nothing. Yeah, you go back. Oh, me.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, we just know who's saying what.
Going to trick a lot of Indian people.
Oh, yeah. Boomers, too.
Boomers, too.
Oh, and he likes it a little too much. He likes being a white woman.
Yeah,
Oh, look at
he
this.
does. And this is something I
What in the? What? in the Sam
Kind of like
hell is
most
this?
marriages. Somali scammers, otherwise known as.
We're being invaded by federal agents. We say we've been invaded by fucking migrants. Everyone has their own thing, and People Magazine, it's just like, okay, oh, it's controlled by them? Okay, trash. You know, everybody uses kind of the same words or same rhetoric, And I was comparing it to, remember how Sean Hannity used to come on after Tucker and he'd start a sentence with, disgraced former FBI Director James Comey.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, we just know who's saying what based on like who's disgraced or who's not. Just because you say disgraced, yeah, among your queer group of friends who's going to the Mets game.
Yeah.
We don't really listen to you, and you don't listen to us, and that's fine.
But that's kind of the theme of the episode. It's two sides living in the same world, seeing it completely different than each other.
Yeah.
It's very spooky stuff. Next, we have some people who are protesting the woman who was shot, and they're buzzing their heads in solidarity. She says Renee Cook. It's Renee Good.
She doesn't even get her name right, and she's shaving her head.
She's crying, shaving her head. This is like this is how I buzz my head.
Yeah.
It's not hard.
Just less mobility, right?
And
Less
then
range of motion for you?
And and I leave spots in the back sometimes. And then I'll go out in public and people will go, did you just give yourself a haircut? Yeah. Yeah, you have a patch on the back. You missed.
Yeah. You get the point. She makes it all the way to the end and she's bald.
And she's crying.
Sinead O'Connor, right?
And she's just showing that she's in control of her life, and then proof of that is the decisions she's making, and that's what she's doing with this full control of her life. She should get her head.
She should get a tattoo next.
Yeah. And we have a clip from
I'm rage quitting. That's it. I'm just all right. All right.
An account called Homath, which has gone very viral on Twitter, and he basically explains why women tend to do the buzzed head thing.
Please do this one. I really need to know. He's asking why women are shaving their heads over Renee Good. That is the woman who got terminally oppressed by ICE for defending Somali scammers, otherwise known as George Floyd. Here's the answer. The drawings are crappy in the interest of not making the videos take forever. So first of all, hair is a sign of fertility. Everybody loves women with long, healthy hair, and women with short and broken and messed up hair are disgusting. That's actually a sign of poor nutrition. So let's say it's ancient times and we're living in straw huts again. If these women are not being adequately provided for, their hair might break because of starvation. Okay, number 2, the police are like dad. You call them for help, and when they don't do what you want, then they're like mean dad. So when women express themselves politically by
do I make cheesecake? No, I've never made a cheesecake. This is getting freaking ridiculous, man. Can I just get a normal Manahan sometime? Just one. Just one.
by saying, I want a pony and infinity Democrat votes. Dad, the police, can either say, okay, sweetie, whatever you want, and then they say, hooray, I will continue to be a spoiled brat, and nothing changes. Or Dad can say no, in which case he becomes mean dad, and then she removes the signs of her fertility. Withholding fertility is the primary weapon of the Foid. So removing my own hair means I'm withholding my sexuality because you didn't do what I want. Kind of like most marriages.
Kind of interesting. Yeah, that's a good breakdown. He does a good job, and he's got those funny pictures. That guy's definitely worth a follow.
For sure.
All right, moving on. Our next story, AI is getting very good in a bad way. You're now able to have like fake avatars that mimic your movements, and you can completely disguise yourself. The Indian guy on the bottom right is the real person, and then the woman on screen is the avatar he's being. So you can see him moving. This is going to trick a lot of Indian people.
Oh, yeah. Boomers, too.
Boomers, too.
And he likes it a little too much. He likes being a white woman.
Yeah, he does. And this is something to watch out for. Like, you can get scammed, and someone might say, hey, join this Zoom meeting, blah, blah, blah. The Zoom could be that. Yeah. So just because you're seeing a person and hearing a person doesn't mean that they're not necessarily who they are. But there could be some hints, like if the hot chick you're talking to really likes chicken biryani.
Yeah, what's your favorite meal? Oh, my mom used to make this chicken biryani that cheeseburger.
Yeah, you must send to me Visa gift card. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's very true.
But yeah, the Indians are going to love this. The scammers are
do not redeem.
Going to love this. And I think this might actually even lead to some of them pruning out. They start liking becoming the white blonde woman a little too much, and they start thinking of themselves as, I'm Alice now.
Yeah, the Indian guy's going to have to put stuff in his butt to entertain his clients.
I know. He's going to turn around and be like the VR, just going crazy.
And the face is just hating it. It's like, all right.
Which is something to watch out for, I guess.
It's something to watch out for, and it's also bad news for trans folks.
Podcasters.
good.
too.
Well, yeah.
No, like I mean, you're gonna start seeing more slop content like this, where someone becomes someone else, and we're grandfathered in. You know, we're real, so that's nice. All right, thank you.
Real guy. He's
Thank you.
warm.
Thank you.
And it's not good news for trans folks.
Why?
Because guys pretending to be girls and they can look like a girl all the way.
Oh, yeah.
But the next trans folks we're going to highlight, or this next trans person we're going to highlight, is actually doing pretty well.
Yeah.
She says, men are hitting on me now.
Yeah, she, with that chin and those shoulders. She
So,
says men are hitting on her
She
now.
doesn't even need the AI filter.
Yeah.
Men are hitting on her now.
Yep.
Her.
What about that jaw, man? Like, why would you go trans? What about those shoulders? It's like like if you're a little twink, I get how you'd fall into the path.
You want guys any way you can get them.
You're already a bottom, maybe. You're a little twink.
Yeah.
But how does this guy, male swimmer physique, fall into this?
That's a great point. That is a swimmer physique.
And then
all tatted up too.
Well, and then that leads me to my other point is it's a porn. You can tell almost, and I'm speculating here, that it's a porn-derived transization. Because if you're a twink who becomes trans, it's like, okay, you fell where the chips fell. You went where you kind of the road was already going. This one, you got hijacked.
Yeah.
This was real porn, jerk off, anime stuff.
Yeah. Could be poison water situation too. It could be chemical.
Yeah.
It could be environmental. Maybe he did a bad circuit of gear in high school.
but the
and
broad
never
shoulders-
made testosterone again.
But the broad
Big
shoulders
fat
and the
porn.
chin tell me that he kind of had testosterone.
Yeah.
So that's what.
Where I got type 2 deep, I don't know. Don't need that sugar anyway, but I don't listen to my primary care doctor. That's not.
What I'm saying is I've already eliminated chemical. This is 100% porn induced in my mind.
Yeah, I
Because
can agree with that.
If you were all fucked up from the lake that you get your drinking water from, you wouldn't have you'd be a little sunk into yourself.
Yeah, you'd have more estrogen.
So
that's a good point. All
Just
right,
a theory.
Our final clip of cringe. This woman shows us all the snacks she sneaks into the movie theater.
Here's what I sneak into the movies as a fat girl who's trying to be a little less of a big back and maybe also not pay $16 for popcorn.
So we're going to cut the audio because she uses a song, but big bag of popcorn, some sort of snack. Looks like some pumpkin seeds.
How long is the movie?
Lawrence of Arabia, 3 hours and 48 minutes. And she's got 10 kids.
Yeah.
Pepperoni.
Can't go 2 hours without pepperoni.
Carrots. Munching on
You
carrots.
eating all this shit? You have a picnic in the movies?
Yeah.
The
whole thing of Baby Bells. They were already in a bag, and she dumped them into a different bag. So she's just like adding
Are
plastic
you
to
gonna
this
eat
shit.
all of this shit in the movies? There's like a thing. We were talking about this before the show, where people try to be healthier,
Yeah.
and they don't realize how many calories they're drinking. A protein shake,
And then
multiple protein shakes.
No, and then a weed drink. 5
And a weed
milligrams of
drink.
THC
Falling
and a protein
asleep over
thing.
here.
Yeah, they're
All right, guys, this will be my last game. I'm gonna hop off now because I am exhausted.
There's a thing, and this lady's fat and she's struggling, and I think she kind of rage baits people online.
Working.
Yeah, I fucking hate this lady. And it disgusts me. I'm repulsed by it. And, but yeah, that's a common mistake. A lot of fat people who got fat because they were completely disconnected from diet and fitness and exercise, they start
fucking even.
making
You
a
gotta
change
fucking
where,
be
oh, I'll
kidding
do
me.
this healthy substitution and that healthy substitution. And then you're doing a protein shake with 400 calories or something. And they get into this like, oh, I'm going to eat, that's healthy, that's healthy, that's healthy, that's healthy.
You can eat as much as you want.
And they're all fucking so calorie dense or like cheese, like stuff that's not. They used to give Roman soldiers in their backpacks when they were going to conquer someplace, cheese, that thick bread and like meat, or milk. And they make these switches and then they just pig.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go, what? I made all these healthy choices.
And you think, well, it's healthy. You can eat as much as you want. And it's like nuts are very calorie dense.
Yeah, you should have had the Coke. You should have had the Coke instead of fucking a bag of pumpkin seeds and a protein shake. That's 900 calories, right?
Crazy. And she loads up that bag like she's going on like a 3-day hike.
Yeah.
Crazy.
She's seeing Lawrence of Arabia with 10 people. That's her plan. That's what the food tells me.
And it's a 2-mile hike there and a 2-mile hike back.
It's at 1,500 feet or 8,000 feet.
All right, well, that's the end of cringe. We're now moving on to Urban Decay. All right, our first clip of Urban Decay is the one we mentioned in the intro. This guy steals a lawnmower and he's in a wheelchair.
Usual suspects.
Can I help you? Hey.
He's like, "Can I help you?" As he's just driving off with the guy's lawnmower.
Hey. Hey. Hey, jackass. Bring my lawnmower back. Bring my fucking lawnmower back. Hey, bitch.
Call him a bitch.
And he's out.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, maybe this is why the urban communities are in such disarray, because everyone's stealing each other's maintenance equipment.
I think so. That's why lawns are overgrown, hedges are never trimmed. It's because they're all stealing and taking it to the pawn shop, and nobody can actually maintain their property.
Right.
Yeah, but there is another way you can look at this. It's almost like...
I gotta go to bed, guys. I'm falling asleep over here. I'll talk to y'all later.